Joining us today is Chris Hamilton, CEO, Australian Payments Clearing, who'll be speaking at IIR's Retail Financial Services Forum 2010 on the 23rd to 24th of August in Sydney. Hello Chris, thanks for joining us.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, James.
Firstly, can you briefly explain your thoughts on the changing payments landscape with the likes of the convergence of card and electronic payments, new choices and new competition?
There's a lot going on in convergence. In the traditional world, the thing that marks card systems apart is the form factor, if you like, the fact that you've got the bit of plastic in your hand, and the sort of real-time authorization process. Now, in both cases, the ability to use all sorts of different form factors for card systems mean that they're getting to look more like electronic payment systems. And the real-time nature of the payment is, of course, much more common now than it was when card systems first got going. So what you're getting is a world where people are expecting the same kind of real-time service from any consumer payment system they use. That can happen online, and of course the card systems are very keen to expand their presence online, but they're competing against non-card systems like PayPal, for example. And then even in the shop, increasingly, it won't necessarily be a card that you pull out, but it might be your mobile phone. And as soon as you're talking about using a mobile phone, you've got access to a wide range of different types of card systems. So the long-term trend is that the traditional difference between the card system and how it works and every other payment system, electronic payment system, pay anyone on the internet or PayPal or whatever, is going to disappear, and they'll all be competing in the same marketplace.
And what are your thoughts on the future of online and mobile payments?
I think the key way to think about mobile payments is not about the individual transaction and how it's going to work, because there are about 5 or 6 different ways of affecting a payment transaction using a mobile phone. It could be SMS-based, it could be, in effect, an online transaction that's happening on a small screen, if you like. It could be a card transaction that's happening on the mobile rather than on a card. There's all sorts of ways of doing it. The key thing about the mobile is not how that transaction happens, but the integration of that transaction with everything else that the customer is doing. So young customers, young consumers live on their mobiles. All of their friends are listed there. The mobile phone knows who their friends are. All of their most interesting internet sites and the things that they like to look at a lot and the shops they like to go to, they're all on the phone. If they're sensible young people, their budgeting is on the phone. What the payment system needs to do is to respond to that and make payments seamless into that world that exists on the mobile phone. So that's the exciting challenge. It's to take all of those payment transactions and integrate them naturally into how people are living on their mobile phones.
What future integration challenges will financial service providers face?
So one of the problems here is I think there's going to tend to be more different types of transactions that people are able to do than there used to be. And so there'll be lots of different channels and lots of different media being used, all coming back to a few key devices that are sitting with the customer, like a mobile phone, like their web presence, if you like. So the big challenge is going to be, if you're running an account on behalf of a customer, there's going to be a lot more channels into that account than there used to be, and how are you going to keep track of all of those and make sure that they happen seamlessly so the customer gets the choice of which one to use rather than you saying, well, you can only use this or that. The other thing, of course, is that the integration across the different players is going to become more intense. Lots of mobile solutions involve you needing to pick the telco you're going to use alongside the bank you're going to use. In the long run, of course, there needs to be an any-to-any solution there, so that it doesn't matter which telco you're with and it doesn't matter which bank you're with, and it even doesn't matter which card scheme you're using, they'll work together. So that requires a lot of collaboration across people who are naturally competitors. That is a big challenge, and it has implications for how back offices will be built in the future. So there's a lot of detail in there in terms of how the systems are going to work to do that, but perhaps that's for another discussion another day.
You're speaking at IIR's Retail Financial Services Forum on the 23rd to 24th of August in Sydney. What will you be addressing in your presentation?
Well, a lot of this kind of stuff. What we try to do at APCA is do some high-level forecasting of the landscape. how are payment systems and services going to evolve in a broad sense. They are the platform on which individual financial service providers, banks, building societies, credit unions, what have you, are then offering services specifically to their customers. So I see it as my job to try and paint that general landscape. How's the platform going to look on which there will be opportunities then to sell great services to the customers that you want to capture? So I guess it's a sort of a horizon-setting exercise within which other people will then be able to nail down the specific opportunities.
And finally, how important do you think events like this are for the industry as a whole?
Well, this kind of, the kind of thing we do, the landscaping work, if you like, can never be done in isolation. You can't sit by yourself in a room. So the interaction, the debate, the listening to the drivers and the motivations and the intentions of the industry are so important in terms of picking up that general sense. We're all learning every time we go there, and that interaction is crucial.
Chris Hamilton, thanks very much for your time today.
Pleasure.